Welcome to the Greatness Together podcast. Curious minds unite. Mother-daughter conversations that delve into the heart of psychology. Thanks for joining us. We're so happy to have you back for part 2 of this scrumptious conversation. In case you missed part 1, you can find the link in the show notes.
So it's everybody, and I didn't think of everybody until I started thanking people, and then I went, oh, well, I could thank this person. Well, that person deserves a thank you. Well, I'm very grateful for what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then it just literally ripple effect trickled away, and it just kept growing and growing. And more people doing that, and more people doing that in different parts of their lives. Like, can you not imagine the spider web of your spider web comes here and overlaps my spider web, and somebody else says, I don't know why I'm using spider webs, but they're sticky and we know about them.
And you catch the critters that are negative so that they're now part of the ecosystem. Maybe they're
I don't know. They're dead.
Know if that works.
That's not spider webs.
Never mind.
We're going to skip
Ripple
that
effect?
one.
Ripples?
Ripples. Water
in
ripples.
A healthy ecosystem?
In a healthy ecosystem.
That's what we meant.
That's what I meant.
Yes, we were joking about
Yes, so I throw one little pebble in, just one pebble, and you just throw one pebble in, and that makes ripples, and we end up affecting each other and everybody else, but in a positive way, and it really doesn't take a lot. Like, it was weird the first time when I first started writing. I'm like, well, what am I going to think? No, that's not right. I gotta word it different. What am I going to say? And then you don't think too much about it. It's that loop. I was like, oh my gosh, what a da.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be. Mm-hmm. It just has to just say, I'm thankful because, or thanks for doing this because, or I want to recognize your greatness for doing this. And you just say it. And then you do it. And then you do it again and again and again and again and again. And it's just
And before long, you're going to the cafeteria with little
frogs.
Squishy frogs. Because you're like, I can write thank you cards like a boss.
Sure.
Like a queen. So now I'm going to move on to little squishy objects and give them to strangers. I love that. Because you're like, what's the next frontier of recognition? And I'll tell you how you inspired me. And this is part of the ripple.
Okay.
This is part of the ripple. Because literally this is what I do all day long. And when it comes back and I hear how people are leveraging it, I'm like, ooh. That's right. Yeah. So here's what I did when you shared with me. I think you sent me some pictures too of the folks. Yeah. So he works for a company called Eurest, and they are an amazing Canadian company. Okay. Like the leaders and the staff, they really deeply care about each other, their staff, and the people in it. Right. That they are a reflection, I think, of company culture. Awesome. Like if you are badly treated, if you feel disposable, are you going to treat your customers, whether they've gone through chemo or not? You probably, if you don't feel well treated yourself, there is a possibility. Now, some people are just going to do anything they can because that's who they are, because they're so empathetic. At some point, though, you tap out, you burn out, and you make some choices. You got to disengage, you got to leave, or maybe you're going to be grouchy. Whatever. You've got a few options. Yeah. And he wasn't like that. No. And he made such a difference to you. And I know many people, you frogged many people from that food services group. Yeah. So I was able to then send a message with those pictures to some of the scrumptious people. One of them, her name is Denise, and Cassandra, and and Stephanie, and Lauren, who is their chief people officer. Awesome. David, who is now retired but was their president. So I was able to catch your ripple and send it over the digital divide to those folks and say, this is why you do what you do. This is why you have diversity, equity, inclusion, why you have strong people plans, why you do the work as leaders to do people planning well, because this is what it looks like. Yeah. And they're in their offices. This was, again, during COVID, so they're remote, and they're doing the best that they can. One of the things I heard from them is they said makes me remember why we do what we do.
That's cool.
They probably needed the reminder when they were feeling isolated in their office, doing the best they could to keep a frontline service going when they weren't allowed to be on site with their people.
Yeah.
So your work, by sending it to me, by me sending it to them, and I can only imagine how many ripples that created from there.
And and it kind of, I think that's so cool that you could do that, and you did that, and they
loved it.
That's
so then
awesome.
I was like, well, now I feel great for you, and I feel great for them, and I feel great for him, and
it's that ripple effect, and it's really simple things that we can all do.
Yes.
You know, you see so many memes and so many things where people say, well, you never know what people are going through, and one smile can make a difference, and all those little
sometimes
inspirational
people feel
things.
like they're trite, but actually, are they though?
No, I think they're good reminders, and I know sometimes things become kind of cliche, but I think we need to be reminded, like, it really does not take a lot.
Yes.
It does not take a lot, and even if you don't hand out a little card or whatever, we kind of go around, and sometimes my kids are a little embarrassed, but I think that's a parent's job.
I do that too.
I think that's a parent's job.
My kids.
Yes. If you're not doing that, you're not.
Exactly. They're not experiencing the full on of their extra.
That's right.
Moms.
That's right. Oh, you got to do that. But I will, we'll walk around wherever we are, and I'll see someone's shoes or boots or something. I'll say, hey, I really like your boots.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Yeah.
Or that hat is, you're wearing that like a boss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or, gosh, you've got a good smile. Or anything little. And we're just passing each other. And it takes that one moment. How long does it take when you pass somebody on the street, or you pass somebody in the mall or wherever? And it's just those little things, because maybe they needed it, maybe they didn't, but maybe they did,
Yeah.
I can tell you another story about Sephora yesterday.
Yes. Okay.
So I went on a day, so I mentioned to you that yesterday was 4 years ago yesterday that I was diagnosed. So I'm in the office with the surgeon, and my husband's there, Darren's there, and she says, we did find something, you have stage 2 breast cancer. Devastating day. It was crushing. We didn't make it past, we thought, okay, we'll go to McDonald's, we'll have what are those called? Blizzards.
Yes.
No, that's Dairy Queen. McFlurries.
Yes.
We're having ice cream anyways.
Yes.
It's a food group for us.
Yes.
So we're going to go do that. It'll be okay. And before we could get there, we had to pull over. And I was devastated. I was crying. I was almost hyperventilating. I was like just in tears. I'm like, I'm going to die. All that kind of stuff, right? Sorry, I'm just thinking of where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, sorry. So that was the day. So May 29th every year, that's what I can go back to and remember how brutal that day was. Because it wasn't just for me, but I've got a family, right? So what I did yesterday, 4 years later, is I went and celebrated that day. Yeah. And I celebrated that. I know. What the heck am I doing?
So much again. Tell me about yesterday.
So yesterday I go to Sephora because my kid has stolen, somebody stole or maybe I've lost it because I'm old, but it could be the latter.
Who knows?
It could be the latter.
Anyways, to blame the kid.
I needed some concealer.
Yeah.
So I go into Sephora. I'm waiting for 10 o'clock. They open the doors. We all walk in, and I'm looking around, lost, like a lost puppy in Sephora, because I just am. And somebody says, do you need some help? And I said, yes, I do. And so Tamara comes up to me, and Tamara is one of the consultant kind of people there. She works there. I think we spent a good part of 40 minutes together.
Yeah. You bonded.
We bonded. I came in for a concealer. It was almost like an IKEA run. You go in for one thing and out you come with Christmas. But I went in there and she was just so patient with me. And she's like, okay, well, let's try this. And well, what are you looking for? And she just was present with me and spent time and whatever. And at one point, halfway through, I looked at her and I thought, am I going to tell her this? I was like, yes, I'm going to tell her this. I want to tell you that 4 years ago today, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And because of COVID, I did not get to do anything hands-on at Wellspring Niagara. I didn't get to go to the hospital and do stuff. I couldn't try on wigs. Everything was kind of online. There was nothing personal. There weren't the makeup sessions and the make you feel good stuff.
Right.
There was no make you feel good because there was the pressure of the pandemic, the pressure of cancer, nothing, right? And I said, thank you so much for making me feel so good today. And I almost cried. And I said, can I give you a hug? And I gave her a hug. And I was like, I just wanted to tell her that because it was so hard to do that, to go through cancer and not have that human connection. That's why when that nurse gave me a hug, that was so awesome, right? When I needed it for something that I wasn't even in pain for, it wasn't even whatever, right? So Tamara at Sephora got a hug from me yesterday because I was just so thankful that she was like paying attention to me and spending that time with me, not even knowing why I needed that day, right? Because you don't know. That's why those memes are not cliche. Yeah. You don't know what people are going through. And that made me feel so good. So when I dropped $150 at Sephora, thank you, Tamara at Sephora. Sure, I also thanked her supervisor. I said, Tamara's awesome.
Yes. Good
so
for you.
I did that
Pass
too.
It on.
Ripple affected that, but
well, therapy appointment is $150 normally. So it sounds that's right.
I didn't even think of that.
It sounds like you got 5 things of makeup for free.
Pretty much.
You got a therapy appointment, but with bonus makeup. My therapist, she's great, but she doesn't give me makeup.
No, I know. I don't either.
I just drop $150 and I don't get swag.
Yes, that's about it. Yeah.
I love how you gave yet another beautiful example of the power of feeling seen.
Yeah.
That, in a nutshell, is what recognition is and why recognition is the currency of connection.
Right.
You connected with her.
Right.
You didn't need a reason. You didn't need to have professed the reason why I am worthy of your time in 40 minutes is because this is my 4th year anniversary. It happened to be. I'm sure you didn't show up any differently than you would have had it been today or last week or what have you. But she saw you and she valued you as a person. Yeah. And that fortunately inspired you to see her and value and compliment her as a person. And then of course spread that on to her boss. And you know, when you were saying sometimes you just walk by somebody, right? Like she could have just done the basics and not given more, or you could have taken her help and then not acknowledged, or taken her help and acknowledged her, but not passed on to her boss. Yeah. It's like, it's not that much harder to say thank you. It's not that much harder to pass on the appreciation to the boss. Right. And yet the benefit, what you get in return for doing that is so much exponentially more. Right. I mean, now you have yet another good story.
There's so many, and we could all have really good stories. But do you find, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay. I will answer it.
Flip that table.
Okay.
And you know what I've noticed too? We're totally mimicking each other on this.
Mirroring.
On what we're mirroring.
We mirror. It's a form of connection as well. It's a body language, human behavior
we've
thing.
Totally been doing that.
But so I feel like if you're going to ask me the question, we should switch spots.
No, well, do you want to?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
all right. Okay, so now you're going to ask me questions. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I only had one. I think I'm
Okay, go ahead.
So do you think that, because we were talking about how it's so simple to say thank you. It's simple to just walk past someone and say, nice shoes.
Yes.
You can say 2 words. You can say 2 little words.
Nice shoes.
Or good morning. Or hi, how are you? Or man, that's a killer hat. Yeah. Or whatever.
I love your hats thing.
People are wearing more hats.
Start wearing hats more. I want more compliments. I'm going to start wearing hats more often.
Yeah, well, you have some good hat pictures.
I haven't bought any of them. I'm going to have to buy them now.
Yeah. I'm going to get you a fedora. I like fedoras.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do fedoras.
Little jaunty hat. Next podcast slash video, we'll both be wearing hats.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I cut you off from asking the question. You're in the question
spot. I cut myself all the time. So do you think, because it's so simple to say thank you, it's so simple to say and recognize and connect, and it's simple. Why do you think people don't do it? Why do you think people don't say nice shoes? Yeah. Why do you think people don't make a quick little connection with a stranger or a little connection with their best friend or a big connection with whatever.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this question. And I actually do get this question from folks afterwards. After I do a keynote, for example. So there's a few things I think that happens. Right. One is some people are afraid that they don't know where it's okay anymore.
Right.
So they might worry if I compliment somebody's shoes, is that crossing a line?
Right. Right.
So shoes are generally not a terribly sexual part of the body. So I would say you're probably okay with shoes.
You're probably safe.
You're safe
with shoes.
Yes. No. I mean, it is a very legitimate, very, very legitimate. And I honor that question of people wanting to know where the boundaries are. So that's one reason why sometimes people don't compliment.
Right.
Another one is that in certain environments, we're conditioned that our value is not necessarily the soft things that we all know are actually what's fundamental in a work environment. So it's not necessarily valued. Mm-hmm. So the acknowledgement might be getting a report in on time. But then usually the response is good job because it's part of somebody's job. Yeah. So that's part of it is it's not really part of the ecosystem since we're using the ecosystem metaphor. Why not?
Let's do it. Ripple.
Yeah. Yeah. So one drop in the compliment can cascade, can sometimes help us see that the ecosystem can in fact involve acknowledgement. So I think that's part of it is we don't realize how important and feel like we have the permission to do the complimenting because it's not seen as valued and soft.
Which is so weird.
I know.
And just because somebody else isn't doing it, I think too, doesn't mean you can't.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like when do we all have to fall? Yes.
We are allowed as grown-ups. We get to acknowledge people whenever we darn well please.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Because people say so many negative things, right? They say negative and then we go,
they don't stop there.
Whoa, that's not appropriate. When has anybody ever said nice shoes and you're like, that's not appropriate?
I'm sorry. I have so many compliments today. Yeah. I am up to here with them.
Maxed out.
No more appreciation. Thank you very much.
I do not need that crap.
I am not going to listen to your appreciation a second longer.
No.
Wouldn't that be an amazing goal? For people to be so sick of all the acknowledgement.
That'd be great. That would be great. Like, I cannot possibly get another compliment today.
If I hear one more nice thing from somebody, I am going to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be my dream.
So I'm making up another question. Well, not making up.
I just see the power of that spot.
I know.
It's good that we switched.
I don't know what happened, but this is nice. Yeah. Feels the same, but it's different. But it is different.
Yeah, you just know when
it is. You just vibe. So here's another question then.
Okay.
That I'm not. Well, I made it up but while you were talking.
Good.
Okay. So what? Nope. Now I've lost it. Sorry. Gotta edit that out.
No editing. This is all
There's no editing. This is all good stuff.
This is all good stuff.
Well,
the bloopers are the humanity.
The bloopers are. We talked about that.
This is people realizing.
Oh, this is people realizing what happens in your brain.
But this is what happens when you can be yourself with somebody.
And thank you for that.
I don't believe a single thing you say and you are deserves to be edited out.
Well, wow, thanks.
This
is going to be a long show.
People can buckle
while
down.
You all wait.
Get a snack
for me.
Pause it. Get a snack. A drink.
Yes.
And then come back.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because there's more questions and answers
that are
musings.
Come up. Okay, So sorry, brain clicked back on.
Okay.
So there's so many things that I watch or you see or people whatever and they're like, you should do this with your kids and you should do this and you should do this many times and whatever. But what do you think would be an easy kind of goal? You were just saying about goals. What would be just an easy goal for everybody to do every day? Like 3 little thank yous or even just start with just saying thank you.
Yeah. 95% of people say their preferred form of recognition.
Yes.
Like 95% of people say, just tell me thank you. So we could say thank you more.
What about thank you for?
Oh, yes. So
and include that.
92% of people say specifically tell me.
Yes.
So I'm not saying the 8%, they're like, don't keep it from them. I'm not saying that.
Right.
And they don't usually wear a badge too that says, I don't need any more information, so definitely good.
Just thank you.
Overly confident.
Yes.
Do not compliment this person. Like a warning at the zoo. Do not feed the animal. Do not compliment the egomaniac.
No.
You're right. Say thank you.
Yes.
Say what you appreciate. And maybe this is kind of full circle back to that original question around why people don't thank, is they sometimes feel like they don't know what to say.
Right.
So just say what you're noticing. You gave the example of nice shoes, but if you're thinking, wow, my colleague is so efficient.
Yeah.
You say, thank you for being so efficient. Thank you for being efficient with this report. Thank you for efficiently responding to my email. Thank you for efficiently planning my surprise party. And if they're not, that's a hint drop right there. Mike, can I tell you what Mark calls that?
Yes.
My husband, Mark.
Yes.
He says, I appreciate. I say thank you for whatever I want him to do or what he's going to do. I'll say, so it's, garbage day is on Fridays. So I'll say, thank you so much for putting out the garbage.
I do that. But
he hasn't done it yet.
No.
And he always does it. But he's like, so you're all good.
Yeah.
And then he'll go, is this thank you to remind me to put out the garbage?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I'm just saying thank you because I know you're going to do it.
Yeah. So he's on to me. There is sometimes I do appreciate so that he does something.
I think women do that sometimes. I think really smart women, and there's a few of them. There's a few of us out there that do the appreciate. I like the word though.
That's
I like
a little
the word.
Tip. That's Mark's word.
Yeah.
That's Mark's word.
A good
We're
word,
really
Mark.
getting into all the secrets.
We're getting into some
everything
stuff here. Yeah.
So your question about, why don't people do it? We talked about that.
Yes.
The question about, the thank yous. It's so easy.
How do you start the ripple effect?
The thank you.
Right.
The thank you for whatever it is. The noticing.
Right.
I call it like sliding door moments.
Okay.
So you have all these moments all throughout your day.
Yes.
Where you've got lots of choices. And if anyone hasn't seen the movie Sliding Doors, that's with Gwyneth Paltrow. That's where this comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, so sliding doors, you can live a different life or have a whole different outcome depending on if you go through those sliding doors.
Oh.
So this is what I mean by a sliding door moment is you've got choices all the time. Right. Do I acknowledge my colleague who seems like they're down and say, is everything okay?
Right.
Or acknowledge I really value having you on my team. I haven't said that lately. And, so there's those sliding door moments where you can notice and acknowledge something.
And do you also find though that like random ones, because, there's, Secretary Appreciation Day, and then all of a sudden on Secretary Appreciation Day, all the secretaries are appreciated. But what if on a random Tuesday, you just went up to somebody and said, hey, I know I don't say this enough, or I know you're already maxed out with compliments.
Yes, that's right. At the risk of you having too many compliments today.
And hearing
that
this
would be
again.
Yeah.
I need to tell you that you kick butt.
Yeah.
I won't swear on this. That you kick butt.
Ooh, we know what you meant though.
And we know what I meant. But to make it spontaneous, because I feel like the obligatory thank you isn't really.
Even though you said that.
Thank you.
Obligatory. Do
you know what I mean?
Very proper.
Yeah. Like,
oh, I know. Can I tell you how Mark gets appreciated for Employee Appreciation Day?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So this is fun.
Okay.
This is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
So we have a running joke now in our house. And this is one of the downsides of being married to a recognition expert is now you're very tuned into
very conscious
recognition and the lack thereof.
Yes.
So my husband, like you, has been a teacher for a while. It's 21 years for him now.
Wow, yeah.
Yes. So on Employee Appreciation Day, an email comes out from the director of education.
Yeah.
And there's one paragraph that changes it's the second one. We know exactly based on what's going on. So during COVID, it was thank you during COVID, and the year after, second year into COVID, thank you for still being virtual back and forth.
Right.
And then there's always thank you for not being on strike, some version of that. Something. Everything else is the same. It's a form letter of appreciation. So what Mark does is he will forward it to me now.
Yes.
I hope I don't get him fired. Send it to me now.
We don't know where he works.
Oh, the topic of the year is. And he actually printed them out last year, and we lined them up side by side. And literally, it's almost the exact same word count.
Yeah.
It's an email. You could even change the word count or even the paragraph order. So does it, to your point, it actually is worse to make it form.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing that the director does that does not work.
Yes.
Is every 5 years you get a card. The card.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes.
Oh, we don't get that, so.
Oh, you don't? Okay. You're like, oh, wow.
Well, Mark's getting appreciated.
Must
so
be
that's
fancy
nice.
in the Halton District School Board. They get a card every 5 years. Well, you're not missing out on much.
We'll probably just get another email or something. I don't know.
You're not missing out on much.
Okay.
You're not missing out on much. Because all it is, it's a number. So the 5 or the 10 and so forth. Printed. Granted, it's in a colorful font.
Sure.
You know, so it's not black and white. And then, but on the inside, it is a black and white standard message. And then the handwriting is Mark, comma. And 5 years ago, the same director of education, I guess, newly to the role, perhaps, felt a little joie de vivre with the compliments and wrote a short sentence. Probably was the same one to everybody.
Okay.
But it was a handwritten note. And if you're thanking 2,000 people, even if the note's the same, you're like, wow, you took the time to get a lot of hand cramping to do that. That's a whole Sunday that you spent doing that. I appreciate the gesture. Even if the words were the same, you appreciate the gesture. Yeah. Well, what happened this year, or when I say it's actually, he got the card this year, even though it's 21. He got his 20th card a year late, which also...
Blame it on COVID.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Also had, but at this time it had Mark and nothing. Just Mark. No signature, no...
Was there any content in it?
Just the same words.
Oh, just the same.
From the 5, the 10, the 15, and the 20. It's the same card, but with a different number on the front. So I think, you know, you asked the question of, is it, you know, almost worse for it to be, I think that was your question, right?
Like the obligatory.
The obligatory.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Versus a genuine one, right? Because it's, you're kind of expected to say thank you. You're expected to do your job. Yeah. You're expected to do the unexpected, right? Because then I think it's genuine. Like, and even if you're, you know, and I'm just thinking of support staff. I work with incredible EAs, incredible. I'm a special needs teacher, and they work their tails off, and
nobody even sees their tails.
No,
nope.
There's not even water in the pond for a ripple effect.
Yeah.
It's so, it breaks my heart, and it's so difficult to watch them keep going.
Yeah.
Knowing that their recognition comes as an obligatory one. Yeah. And they have to
and
fight
if anything,
for.
they get the animated criticism.
Yes.
Where the details show up.
Yes.
Is in when they're not.
That's right.
Measuring up according to somebody else's.
Yes. And I remember it was last year, and I was teaching the kids doing cooking. We were doing a culinary class, and so we had made pizzas, and I had extra flatbread and extra whatever. So the EAs were taking the kids down to get on the buses, and I said, "Hey, when you come back, I'm gonna finish up making the pizzas, and we can have some pizza together after the kids are gone." And they looked at me like, "What do you mean? What? But the kids are going." Yeah. No, but it's not for the kids. It's for you. Yeah. And it was a random thing. It was a
4th.
I know. It's what happens because you want to be nice to people and you want to appreciate them because don't we all want to be appreciated, right? So is this okay still? Sorry.
I love that so much that you made them pizza.
But the thing is that but it was simple. It wasn't hard for me to do it. We had all the toppings were still out.
It was literally there.
It was right there.
And
it wasn't fancy.
Like,
there were no truffles on the pizza. There's no gold flakes. There's
caramelized onions, no.
None of that stuff. Yeah. It was cheese. It was pepperoni. It was, I think we had some peppers, whatever. I threw in the oven. By the time they got back, it was out. And they had pizza in there. And I said, well, I don't understand. So they were thanking me. And I said, I don't understand. Like, I'm thanking you via pizza. Who doesn't want to be thanked
Yeah,
for food?
that's true.
I prefer ice cream.
Yeah. For the
or cheesecake too.
Specifically.
Or well, actually, there's a whole list.
Any
But
dessert,
any
maybe.
food
Any-
product, any
yeah.
dessert, really.
Yeah.
But so they said thank you so much, and they were shocked, but then I was shocked back, saying, well, I'm just like it's just pizza, but I just wanted to say thanks because like you guys are doing great, and like nobody ever does this.
Yeah.
Why is nobody thanking anybody? EAs, oncology nurses, respiratory therapists, like you talked about during COVID. Why aren't we thanking people spontaneously, randomly, whenever, for whatever, big things, small things, to have that little ripple effect? Why do we hate joy so much?
Well, I think we like joy. We just get so caught up in the grind of living that we.
But doesn't it help the grind?
It does help the grind.
Just kind of lubricates the wheels a little bit.
It lubricates the wheels of joy. I'm like, I remember what it's like to enjoy my life.
Metaphors. Yeah.
I like connecting with people other than through to-do lists and not to done lists and performance appraisals and all of that
the
stuff.
obligatory crap of whatever.
Yeah.
Make it genuine.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm sharing with folks a lot is connection before correction. We have not earned the right to correct people, for one thing, unless we have connected with them, because we're probably missing some vital information about their strengths, their passions, their fit, how confident they are, how clear they are in the role. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we have not earned the right to correct until we have connected.
Yes.
And as we've talked about this whole time, it doesn't take much to connect.
No.
People are very transparent about who they are, right? And once we have earned the right, because we have connected, then people want to have the feedback because they value you and they don't want to not do well. People don't walk around going, you know what, how can I underperform today? Like
I really screw up.
I want to really make people disappointed in me today. Like, how could I be the worst version of myself?
I don't think we do that.
I don't think we do that.
No, because we naturally want to feel good.
And we want to do good. We wake up every day to do the best we can. Although most of us wake up and we go, I didn't get enough sleep.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get all the things done.
No, I'm there
I don't
today.
know. I'm going to have a moodiness and my kids are going to be mad at me and I didn't get the groceries. And like we start our day already in a deficit. And I think, I think that's the other reason we find it hard to recognize.
Okay.
Is because we don't recognize ourselves.
I saw that coming.
I
saw that coming. The self-care piece, the self-awareness, the just know yourself and appreciate yourself.
Yeah.
Because if your cup isn't full, and again, cliche-ish, whatever, who cares? Because it actually works and we visualize it and we go, I see that.
Yeah.
If your cup isn't full, how are you going to give to other people?
Yeah. And to your point, talking about your beautiful story of sitting in your chair, the chemo chair, I think one of the most inspiring things for me, 5th time.
Oh my
goosebumps.
Goodness. Jeez.
That's a record. I have to tell you.
I have that effect on you.
You're good for my soul, my heart, my head, everything.
Ditto, right back at you.
So one of the most beautiful things that I learned by seeing you showing up for the world on Facebook, talking about the thank yous, you would actually, do you remember this?
I do.
And it was so much fun.
Oddly enough, those some things I do remember. Yeah.
I believe you remember it. How can you forget the good stuff? That's the thing, right? Our memories are emotionally anchored. Like our emotional memories, we remember deeper.
Yes.
Good and bad. So why not make them good, right?
Yeah.
So you built a very strong, powerful emotional memory for me. And I actually think I've saved it on my Facebook.
Oh goodness.
Messages. Messages is posts and messages. My Facebook messages. Yes. Of you in a wig. It was a Halloween
Oh, was it a
wig.
blue one?
Was it blue? I think it was black. I think it was a witch wig.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So it was very scraggly. It had seen better days.
Yes.
And you put it on. You had gone bald by this point.
Yes. Yeah.
And you owned your baldness beautifully.
It was, you know,
and you also thought,
nice,
why not be playful with the baldness?
Yes.
So you also put on wacky wigs. And to what you said
I
earlier,
did.
there was no sitting down getting a wig fit to be beautified because of COVID.
No.
So you instead rocked the wacky wigs from the kids' tickle trunk, you know, the dress-up trunk.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't on Mr. Dress Up,
Mr.
if you've
Dress
never
Up.
watched it, the tickle trunk is not what you think it is. The tickle trunk was his...
Oh, gosh, clarify that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was his dress up.
It was a dress up.
Clothes. It was
clothes,
not a 50 Shades
not,
of anything.
No.
Woo, that was almost... we almost got some
close.
negative comments for that. Anywho, so in the dress up, you pulled out one of the kids' dress up wigs.
Yeah.
And you talked about the great things you witnessed that day. So not only did you recognize people while you were getting chemo, and you recognized how well your kids were doing.
Yeah.
And you encourage people to recognize courier drivers, teachers, healthcare. You listed so many unsung heroes. The people who were thinking about at the time. And also you started to say, and what about? And that's why I saved it. 6th time. I think I got goosebumps actually on my goosebumps. It's
talent.
Like
it's talent.
Yeah, 5 goosebumps to the power of 2.
Yeah.
So, and it was remembering that.
Yes.
Like, and so that is, I think, the other way that we build joy into our day-to-day life is we recognize we're doing the best we can.
Right.
We compliment somebody else when you see they're doing the best they can. You then tell somebody else that this person did the best they could, right? So you pass it on.
Yes.
And bring that home to tell somebody you love, family, friend, that they're doing the best that they can and you see it. And then you maybe even go live with a wig on Facebook. If you really want to go big with this, you practice a Sonja technique.
Yeah. You know, that gives me an idea now. Because now my next live is going to be with me not looking like this necessarily.
You're going to wear a wig?
Because I still have a few. I have a few. Amazon helped me out with a few. I got, so I might just wait. This might be a thing now.
And you're going to tag me, and then we're going to put this in the show notes and the description so people can see that.
Now the pressure's on. Now I got to do it. Because how hard is that? It's easy.
Get to or want to. See?
Get to, want to.
You get to.
I get to do it. I get to do it.
And you want to do it, not have to do it.
I like what you're saying though about just saying like, I'm doing my best, and they're doing their best. And listen, he's doing his best.
Yes.
Because I think that kind of gives us and gives other people permission to get out of that loop that we get stuck in, and that tornado and tsunami of emotion stuff, and I got to do this, and I got to get the report done by 3, and if I don't do this, then I'm not good enough, and that whole cycle, and then I won't be appreciated, and they won't recognize me for everything I have done to this point. It's only the last thing that counts.
Yeah.
So I think just like we're all doing as good as we can do with what we've got right now, and the last 4 years for myself and for our family has been rough. We always look for silver linings, but it's been rough. But I think for a lot of people, because COVID hit, everything changed in our worlds. People lost their jobs. People had to make do with less. People lost things, lost people. People lost people.
People lost people.
And we're all just doing the best we can, and it's okay. And we got to let go of judgment and assuming, and we all just kind of just need to be nicer to each other and start the ripple effect, including ourselves. Yeah. And just start the ripple effect. And it's you dropping that first pebble.
Yes.
Like when you think of yourselves, you're thinking of you're dropping the first pebble. And it starts with you.
Done is better than perfect too.
And
so
done is better
with you. And if you drop that pebble in and you don't think it landed, you always get a redo, and your intention is for the right reasons. So you get a lot of permission. I got a lot of bonus points for doing it for the right reasons. And once you do it, and then you get that rebound of, wow, this made an impact, or wow, I wish this wasn't a surprise to that person, or wow, I feel pretty good about myself as a human being.
Yeah.
It all reinforces itself.
Yeah.
Which is why recognition, I gotta tell you, I fell in love with it in first year psychology because it's motivation theory based on learning theory, based on the fundamentals of human behavior. So it was such a privilege to witness and experience and be part of your journey. And I'm so grateful that we had this call.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Don't you guys love Sonja?
Yes. I love you all.
Type in the comments. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing what you do because you do it so well. And I'm glad you're one of my people.
Yeah.
And
always.
And you do awesome at what you do. So you're like the biggest ripple effect right there. Oh, awesome.
Yay!
Thanks so much for joining us for the Greatness Together podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you catch your podcasts. Yours in greatness, Simone and Sarah.